Hi. All right. Well, here I am. Let's do this. Hi, I'm Maddie Lobotomy, or at least I pretend to be. Uh, this is a YouTube channel, or maybe a TikTok video if you're seeing it there. I don't know. TikTok doesn't really do long form. I don't really know how TikTok works, to be frank with you, to be completely honest. I have no idea. I've spent very little time on it. The time that I have spent on it, I get it. I get why it's so addictive. I felt addicted to it for like the several weeks that I was on a few years ago. But I'm more of a YouTube person. Um, I think a good place to start is to say all the reasons why I don't want to do this. All the reasons why I haven't done this prior to now. So, um, I, I mean, fuck me. Where do I even start, man? Um, you can't tell me because you don't know, because I haven't told you anything about me yet. Um, and also because you're on the phone in the future, I assume. So fucking stupid. Um, okay. So, in no particular order, just to take all the pressure off of myself, I'll just fucking say some things out. Also, sponsored by Aldi, sparkling seltzer water. It's very good. I think that the seltzer, the kind of seltzer that comes like in a can, like a LaCroix, I can't get with it. I can't get with it. It doesn't taste like an. It tastes. People have said this online. Like um, like a hint of someone ate a piece of watermelon and then farted, and the LaCroix tastes like smelling that far from across the room. That's my dumb That's my like half recollected memory of whatever that is. Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? I think that I have, I mean, I don't think that I have. I have a certain sense of purpose in this world. You should rewind it back. I'm a musician. I make music. In theory, I make music. In theory, I sing and I play guitar and piano. And I produce and I click buttons and such. And I've been working very hard at doing that for, yeah, just about, well, over 10 years now. Because I started really trying to make my own music in my first year of college, 2000, say fall of 2014. And now it's like the end of 2025. So yeah, over 10 years now. Jesus. On one hand, like I've come a very long way and I know a lot more now. But on the other hand, I feel like I don't know anything at all. That's not true. Like I do know a lot, but I feel like I wish I had more to show for it. It makes sense that anyone in my position would not have something to show for it. I haven't exactly invested my time into like being seen, thus the video. Uh, so it would make sense that I don't really have much of a following, when I have done uh, vanishingly little to accrue such a following. Why haven't I done this before? Okay, in no particular order. First of all, the music. I feel like I'm still finding my sound. I feel as though songwriting wise, I do really actually have it. I know my voice in songwriting, in lyrics, and in the interplay of like harmony and melody. I feel that I have a very defined voice, and I know what feels like me. And that is not something to be taken for granted. It took a while to get there, and I'm proud that I've gotten that. It's not for nothing. What I'm missing, what I'm still working on, is the whole record part of it. So I think of it like there's a difference between a song and a like an audio file. There's a difference between a song as in something like it's like the difference between a script and a movie to me. I feel like I'm very good at the script part, but then the movie part is all sorts of other things which I have not gotten a handle on yet. In a movie, you have, you know, casting, wardrobe, cinematography, you have color grading and uh, grips and all these various and sundry things, and it's a big production. Movies are a big freaking undertaking, and I feel that way with recorded music. I feel like it's much easier to write a song like this is how the melody goes. These are the words. These are the chords you play. Um, and I guess if I were satisfied with just being the kind of singer songwriter that just plays out, cowboy chords on a guitar, I would just leave it at that and I would have gone further. But I look at my favorite artists and that's not what they do. And it's also like my favorite music I want to sound but I not too much like them, you have to be sort of comparable to other artists so that people have something to like group you in with, to associate you with, um, but not so much that you're biting them, that you're a copycat. You don't have your own sonic identity. And I feel like I I'm not really either of those, like either not having like being too much of a copycat of any particular artist or of being completely unlike anything else anybody's ever made. I think what makes me again like unique is the songwriting part. Um but like so like some of my favorite artists are, so I really like break-ins. Um really like break-ins. I like Charlie XCX. I guess I should specify which Charlie. There are a couple. Um but I also really like I mean I try to have a diverse set of influences, and what I'm just now realizing is that maybe that's hamstrung me a little bit, um, because I think, uh, like many people, this past week I was listening to um, D'Angelo, so like neo soul, but I also listen to like a lot of metal. Listen to like got really into Sleep Token this year. I really love the Mountain Goats. Mountain Goats, one of my favorite artists. I like, I would say Sun Kill Moon. It's more like certain tracks from him, them. Um, it's that way with a lot of artists where it's not necessarily I follow them as a like through all of their creative output, but there are certain songs, certain projects that I really love and that I want to sound like. Um, I really like. I think that Ariana Grande's "Thank You Next," like the album, is a perfect pop album. It's a 10 out of 10 pop album. Um, I really love listening to it. It's just it's so listenable. At the same time, it's not. I don't think that's really me. I don't think that's really my. It's certainly not my voice songwriting wise, but it's also not probably my sound, but it may have like elements of it. But like that's the problem, is that I'm wanting to take elements of like, indie folk, of neo soul, of like R and R&B metal. I'm just thinking of like Sleep Token. I really like chuggy, like drop tuned halftime breakdowns. And in the songs I've written, like I do that a lot in my bridges. A bridge is a great place for a breakdown in a pop song. I do think of the music that I make as basically pop. I do want it to be accessible. Um, I want to be in pop playlists, and the thing that will make me, I imagine, stand out in pop playlists is maybe most of all my lyrics, and just the way that I structure things. I think that I really appreciate pop music. Um, yeah, like a good pop record, not just anything, but like a really good pop record, like Ariana, like you know many of the great tracks that Sabrina Carpenter has put out, Espresso, Feather, Nonsense. Those are 10 out of 10 bangers. Um, I'm, uh, I'm the demographic that I am. So yes, I also love Chapel Roan. Who doesn't? So I appreciate pop. I feel like I don't necessarily have a pop voice, both metaphorically and literally. That when I write music, it doesn't tend to come out in necessarily the melodic contours, let's say, are a little more jagged, a little more dissonant musically. The harmonic content is usually is a lot richer, and again, it has a certain edge, it has a certain bite, or like grittiness, like a certain grunge to it, um, that is like not intentional really. That's just the kind of things that come out of me, and it's kind of always been that way. Like there's a real darkness, but I'm needing to uh, sort of bring some light to that. I'm needing to make it a little more accessible, to make it sound like something that I personally would listen to. Because I don't generally listen to things that are like the stuff that I write. I think that I'm I would probably fit well in a set list, a playlist with Hozier. I like Hozier. I don't really listen to him that often, because he's not like not pop. He's more like indie folk. Um, got some choruses, but um, what I really like about pop is the production is so digestible. I think about like how Charlie puts together a song and the way that things just flow from one thing to another, and it's like there's not too much going on as far as a band um, would play. I should explain what I mean by that. So there are a lot of sonic elements, but they sort of pop in and out. But there's not like a static rhythm section wall of sound. There will be, a bass synth probably. There will be maybe some like lead synths, like either playing a lead or like maybe a pad, like sort of in the background doing pulses. There's going to be some percussion. There's going to be some like wacky sound design things. But she strings it along together in a way that is so artful that it's just like chef's kiss. I love you. I fucking love you, Charlie. Um, and that's not something that comes naturally to me. I think when I write music, I'm not thinking first about the sonic qualities. I'm thinking first about the songwriting, which again is here's the melody, here are the chords, here are the lyrics. And that's not bad, but it's something that would plug in much better with like a traditional band. If I had a band, if I were not a solo artist, I could just be like, here's the melody, here are the chords, and then like make something up. And then we'd have a song. And now, one, I don't have a band. Do I necessarily want a band? I don't know. Sometimes I do. There are some songs when a band would be really nice. Um, and it would certainly help move things along. But, getting a band, that's like a whole other thing. And like, I don't really want it to be, I don't really want a collaborative process. I just want to like hire some people. And I mean that with respect, because I don't want you to feel like, no, the phrase that came to me is, I don't want you to think that we're equals. That sounds horrible. But like creatively, I have a vision, and if I hire a session player, I might want them to play, like make something up. But more rather than that, I would rather have the entire sonic picture in my head. Um, I would rather play in whatever counter melody the guitar is doing myself. I would rather program the drums myself. I would rather like play the piano part so that it all like is a unified, cohesive vision. Um, Sort of secondly, is that like those artists that I talk about, and like, so Charlie does this like break-ins, he'll have, they'll often be these twinkly like Midwest emo guitar riffs, and I love that. I love that. And then he'll have sort of a lot of glitch elements. I like it in his. That's not something that I'm looking to put into my own. Um, and he goes like a lot of percussion, and like there's a bass synth elements, and they have sort of an edge again, like Charlie. It's kind of a like a hyper pop tinge. Again, that's something that I like in him, not necessarily looking to put into like my sound. But to me, it's easier, it's simpler to just write for a band to say like, guitar, play an F chord, than to program in a bass synth where it's like it's going like boop 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 boop, but better than that, right? Um, and like it has its own part, but it's not distracting somehow. Somehow it doesn't take away from the main melody, and it's its own like sort of memorable part on its own if you choose to listen to it. There's this quality of it's sort of minimalist, right? You think about pop records nowadays, and a lot of them, they might not be having the full, I don't know, like a five-piece band behind them, but they're using a lot of space, and sometimes they're not using a lot of instruments. There's more sounds than there are instruments. So when you talk about things like ear candy, it's a lot of like vocal and delay throws that fill up space and lead the listener's ear seamlessly from one moment into the next. The chorus ends, and then you have like an straight into the second verse, and like that's such an artful thing that I want to figure out reliably how to do. But they're not necessarily having like a, I don't know, guitar solo or a drum fill. I feel like I'm circling around the idea that I want to get across here, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm getting it, but I think that's the best that I can do for right now. Maybe to summarize, I think that there is a way that my favorite artists make music that I love and would like to learn how to do that does not come naturally to me. I think part of it is that I'm always thinking, okay, if it's just like a bass part and then a guitar riff, like and then like some drum hits. It's like, well, what about the piano? What's the piano do? Is the piano doing anything? Because I play both, and I feel like for me to have a signature sound, it needs to be consistent throughout songs. It would certainly help to have, if I put out a record, like an EP per se, it would really help me to communicate a consistent sound image, to my audience if I used like exactly the same sounds, basically, just in different ways. But with guitar and piano, I feel like those are taking up the same role. So if I did a song that, it's like there's an order of importance in a song, right? So I just put my finger in my drink. That's not great. I'm still gonna drink from it though. So if in a song there's an order of importance, the first is the melody, the vocal, and then is probably not the drums, probably the like, I would say like first accompaniment instrument. And I feel like that is either a guitar riff or a piano lick or a piano bed. And then it's bass and drums. Drums aren't necessarily like least important. They're heard, but you don't want them to like be the focus. You want to like feel drums more than you are paying attention to drums. So if you're gonna make a song and it's like vocal, lead guitar, like I've been playing 5G a lot, like on my acoustic lately. That's why I have that just like stuck in my head. It's such a catchy riff. I don't know how he does that. I want to learn how to do that. Make riffs that are just like, oh, I want to listen to that over and over, and I do. So vocal, guitar lick, bass, drums. First of all, like that's 4 elements. That's plenty for a song. That's absolutely plenty for a song. You could do it with less if you wanted to. There's like this itch in me that like, what if we fill out more space? Like, what if we had like another part in here? And you could, but you could also not. Something that I really value in my music is groove. That sounded so that sounded so weird coming out of my mouth. Something I really value is groove. It does happen to be true though. And I have learned over the past 10 years that the way you get a track to groove is space, is empty space. So I feel that with bands, having like a full rhythm section, like drum, like an acoustic drum set, like playing like, you know, cymbals the whole time and like really filling up the space. You got a bass guitar, and that's has like a full frequency range, as does the drums, as does like the lead guitar. Maybe you've also got a rhythm guitar, and then like the singer, maybe even background singers, maybe even like a keyboard player. That's all fine and well, and it may sound good, but it's more of like a wall of sound, and it's less like groovy, like less like you can dance to it. So something that the thing for whatever reason that makes things like danceable is not being too overcrowded. It's hard for something to be very lush and grand. Like you don't have a lot of string orchestras that are, you know, you've got like 32 instruments playing, but you're also like and both of those feelings are great, right? Like either like I'm in the club right now, but also like, oh, I'm experiencing the divine. They don't necessarily work well together, and I want them to, because that's what I want. I want my music to be beautiful and catchy. And the easy answer is to say like, oh, well, why not both? Because sometimes those two things go against each other, right? Making things sound grand, and making things have like really like dense and rich, like complicated harmony can be very dramatically fulfilling and compelling. But that's like more of a maximalist, whereas a lot of pop that I like, and I think about like the songs that I listen to on repeat are more often, they have fewer elements, they have less stuff going on, and you're sort of like clicked into more the things that are going on. You feel the rhythm more, and like a pop track might just be like, this is a musical, like this is the melody, and the backing is very sparse, but like the melody is so catchy, and the production hooks are just so good. They've got whatever freaking Swedish magic that, you know, those producers in the of like NSYNC or any of the pop acts of like the early 2000s, what they sprinkled on it. They're all Swedish or Swiss. I don't actually know. they're whatever, Nordic, Icelandic, whatever, whatever you fucks are doing. Like, I want to say Sven or Norm, whatever the fuck. This makes no sense. God, I'm not gonna edit this in post. Holy shit! I've been talking for 30 minutes. Should I just? I feel like I should just like call it here. 30 minutes is a very long video. I'm not gonna edit this. I refuse. The whole point of this exercise was just for me to record something. And I've done that, and I have more to say, and I think I will say it on another occasion. Okay, bye.